Good morning, y'all, and happy Tuesday. Before we get started reading today, I want us to do what we normally would do in class before we start listening to a read aloud if we're feeling kind of squirrely. I want everyone to sit up super tall, your sits bones on the ground, your spine straight and tall, as if there's a golden string that's pulling your head up super high towards the sky, letting you feel super grounded. And I want you to close your eyes. Now, obviously, I can't actually tell if your eyes are closed, unlike in class, so I'm just going to take your word for it. And I want you to just kind of let your arms relax. Put down anything that you're holding right now. And I want you to take a deep breath into your belly, feeling it fill with air completely. And slowly exhale. In through your nose, feeling your body fill with air. And out through your mouth. One last time together, in through your nose. And out through your mouth. One thing that's been giving me a lot of comfort in the times where I'm not seeing very many people is that when we connect that way and we all sit down and kind of ground ourselves, whether it's at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, you can still feel that connection to people. Kind of like in class when we do that meditation where I have you picture a glittery cloud kind of like soaring from your heart, and I say send it to someone else and like picture it going all the way across town or all the way across the country to that person. Now is the perfect time to put that into practice. And Miss O and I have actually been doing that, and it's been really nice because me and Miss O, we're good friends and we miss our hugs and all that. So other than talking on FaceTime and texting and keeping in touch, that's something that I've been working on. Alrighty, so get started. We left off at the start of chapter 2 called Dobby's Warning, and if you're following along with me in the illustrated version, we're on page 10. I don't know what page that is in the chapter book. Page 2. I count on you. I know you can find it. You're smart kids. Alrighty. Chapter 2, Dobby's Warning. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Alrighty. Harry managed not to shout out, but it was a close thing. Okay, hold on, we're gonna start over. Harry managed not to shout out, but it was a close thing. The little creature on the bed had large bat-like ears and bulging green eyes the size of tennis balls. Harry knew instantly that this is what had been watching him outside the garden hedge that morning. As they stared at each other, Harry heard Dudley's voice from the hall. "May I take your coats, Mr. and Mrs. Mason?" The creature slipped off the bed and bowed so low that the end of its long, thin nose touched the carpet. Harry noticed that it was wearing what looked like an old pillowcase with rips for arms and leg holes. Hello?" said Harry nervously. "Harry Potter," said the creature in a high-pitched voice Harry was sure would carry downstairs. "So long has Dobby wanted to meet you, sir. Such an honor it is." "Thank you," said Harry, edging along the wall and sinking into his desk chair next to Hedwig, who was asleep in her large cage. He wanted to ask, "What are you?" but he thought that would sound too rude, so instead he just said, "Who are you?" "Dobby, sir. Just Dobby. Dobby the house elf," said the creature. "Oh, really?" said Harry. I don't want to be rude or anything, but this isn't a great time for me to have a house elf in my bedroom." Aunt Petunia's high, false laugh sounded from the living room. The elf hung his head. "Not that I'm not pleased to meet you," said Harry quickly, "but is there a particular reason that you're here?" "Oh, yes, sir," said Dobby earnestly. "Dobby has come to tell you, sir. It is difficult, sir. Dobby wonders where to begin. Sit down, said Harry politely, pointing at the bed. To his horror, the elf burst into tears, very noisy tears. Sit down, he wailed. Never, never, ever. Harry thought he heard the voices downstairs falter. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't mean to offend you or anything. Offend Dobby? Choked the elf. Dobby has never been asked to sit down by a wizard like an equal. Harry, trying to say shh and look comforting at the same time, ushered Dobby back to the bed where he sat, hic-coughing, looking like a large and very ugly doll. I'm guessing hic-coughing is hiccuping and coughing. At last, he managed to control himself and sat with great eyes fixed on Harry in the expression of watery adoration. You can't have met many decent wizards, said Harry, trying to cheer him up. Dobby shook his head. Then, without warning, he leapt up and started banging his head furiously on the window, shouting, Bad Dobby! Bad Dobby! What are you doing? Harry hissed, springing up and pulling Dobby back onto the bed. Hedwig had woken up with a particularly loud screech and was beating her wings wildly against the bars of her cage. Dobby had to punish himself, sir, said the elf, who had gone slightly cross-eyed. Dobby almost spoke ill of his family, sir. Your family? The wizard family Dobby serves, sir. Dobby is a house elf bound to serve one house and one family forever. Do they know that you're here? Harry asked curiously. Dobby shuddered. Oh, no, sir, no. Dobby will have to punish himself most grievously for coming to see you, sir. Dobby will have to shut his ears in the oven door for this if they knew, sir. Wow, that's harsh. But don't they notice if you shut your ears in the oven door? Dobby doubts it, sir. Dobby is always having to punish himself for something, sir. They let Dobby get on with it, sir. Sometimes they reminds me to do extra punishments. But why don't you leave then? Maybe escape? A house elf must be set free, sir, and the family will never set Dobby free. Dobby will serve his family until he dies, sir. Harry stared. And I thought I was hard done by staying here for another 4 weeks, he said. This makes the Dursleys sound almost human. Can't anyone help you? Can't I? Almost at once, Harry wished he hadn't spoken. Dobby dissolved again into wails of gratitude. Please! Oh, I'm sorry, that's Harry. Please, Harry whispered frantically. Please be quiet. If the Dursleys hear anything, if they know you're here. Harry Potter asks if he can help Dobby. Dobby has heard of your greatness, sir, but of your goodness Dobby never knew. Harry, who was feeling distinctly hot in the face, said, Whatever you've heard about my greatness is a load of rubbish. I'm not even top of my year at Hogwarts. That's Hermione. But he stopped quickly, because thinking about Hermione was painful. Harry Potter is humble and modest, said Dobby reverently, with his orb-like eyes aglow. Harry Potter speaks of his triumph over he who must not be named. Voldemort? Said Harry. Dobby clapped his hands over his bat ears and moaned, Oh, speak not the name, sir! Speak not the name! Sorry, said Harry quickly. I know lots of people don't like it. My friend Ron... He stopped again. Thinking about Ron was painful too. Dobby leaned towards Harry, his eyes wide as headlamps. Dobby heard tell, he said hoarsely, that Harry Potter met the Dark Lord for a second time just weeks ago, and that Harry Potter escaped yet again. He nodded, and Dobby's eyes suddenly shone with tears. "Ah, sir," he gasped, dabbing his face with the corner of the grubby pillowcase he was wearing. "Harry Potter is valiant and bold, but he has braved so many dangers already. But Dobby has come to protect Harry Potter, to warn him, even if he does have to shut his ears in the oven door later. Harry Potter must not go back to Hogwarts." There was a silence, broken only by the chink of knives and forks from downstairs and the distant rumble of Uncle Vernon's voice. "What?" Harry Potter stammered. "But I've got to go back. Term starts on September the 1st. It's all that's keeping me going. You don't know what it's like here. I don't belong here. I belong in your world at Hogwarts." "No, no, no," squeaked Dobby, shaking his head so hard that his ears flapped. "Harry Potter must stay where he is safe. He is too great, too good to lose. If Harry Potter goes back to Hogwarts, he will be in mortal danger." "Why?" said Harry in surprise. "There is a plot, Harry Potter, a plot to make the most terrible things happen at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry," whispered Dobby, suddenly trembling all over. "Dobby has known about it for months, sir. Harry Potter must not put himself in peril. He is too important, sir." "What terrible things?" said Harry at once. "Who's plotting them?" Dobby made a funny choking noise and then banged his head madly against the wall. "All right," cried Harry, grabbing the elf's arm to stop him. "You can't say. I understand. But why are you warning me?" A sudden, unpleasant thought struck him. "Hang on. This hasn't gotten anything to do with with you-know-who, has it? You could just shake or nod," he added hastily, as Dobby's head tilted worryingly close to the wall again. Slowly, Dobby shook his head. Not he who must not be named, sir." But Dobby's eyes were wide, and he seemed to be trying to give Harry a hint. Harry, however, was completely lost at sea. "He hasn't got a brother, has he?" Dobby shook his head, his eyes wider than ever. "Well then, I can't imagine who else would have a chance of making horrible things happen at Hogwarts," said Harry. "I mean, there's Dumbledore, for one thing. You know who Dumbledore is, don't you?" Dobby bowed his head. "Albus Dumbledore is the greatest headmaster that Hogwarts has ever had. Dobby knows it, sir. Dobby has heard Dumbledore's powers rival those of he who must not be named at the height of his strength. But, sir," Dobby's voice dropped to an urgent whisper, "there are powers that Dumbledore doesn't. Powers no decent wizard." And before Harry could stop him, Dobby bounded off the bed, seized Harry's desk lamp, and started hitting himself atop the head with ear-splitting yelps. So sad. A sudden silence fell downstairs. 2 seconds later, Harry, heart thudding madly, heard Uncle Vernon coming into the hall, calling, "Dudley must have left his television on again. Oh, that little tyke!" "Quick, in the wardrobe!" Harry hissed, stuffing Dobby in, shutting the door, and flinging himself onto the bed just as the door handle turned. "What the devil are you doing?" said Uncle Vernon through gritted teeth. His face was horribly close to Harry's. "You've just ruined the punchline of my golfer joke. One more sound and you'll wish you've never been born, boy." He stomped flat-footed from the room. Shaking, Harry let Dobby out of the wardrobe. "See what it's like in here?" he said. "See why I've got to go back to Hogwarts? It's the only place I've got. Well, I think I've got friends." Friends who don't even write to Harry Potter, said Dobby slyly. I expect they've just been... Hang on, said Harry, frowning. How do you know that my friends haven't been writing to me? Dobby shuffled his feet. Harry Potter mustn't be angry with Dobby. Dobby did it for the best. Have you been stopping my letters? Dobby has them here, sir, said the elf. Stepping nimbly out of Harry's reach, he pulled a thick wad of envelopes from the inside of the pillowcase he was wearing. Harry could make out Hermione's neat writing, Ron's untidy scrawl, and even a scribble that looked as though it was from the Hogwarts gamekeeper, Hagrid. Dobby blinked anxiously up at Harry. Harry Potter mustn't be angry. Dobby hoped if Harry Potter thought his friends had forgotten him, Harry Potter might not want to go back to school, sir. Harry wasn't listening. He made a grab for the letters, but Dobby jumped out of reach. Harry Potter will have them, sir, if he gives Dobby his word that he will not return to Hogwarts. Ah, sir, this is a danger you must not face. Say you won't go back, sir. No, said Harry angrily. Give me my friend's letters. Then Harry Potter leaves Dobby no choice, said the elf sadly. Before Harry could move, Dobby darted out the bedroom door, pulled it open, and sprinted down the stairs. Looks like we've got a Dobby bum. Mouth dry, stomach lurching, Harry sprang after him, trying not to make a sound. He jumped the last 6 stairs, landing cat-like on the hall carpet, looking around for Dobby. From the dining room, he heard Uncle Vernon saying, Tell Petunia that funny story about those American plumbers, Mr. Mason. She's been dying to hear. Harry ran up the hall into the kitchen and felt his stomach disappear. Aunt Petunia's masterpiece of a pudding, the mountain of cream and sugared violets, was floating up near the ceiling. On top of a cupboard, in the corner, crouched Dobby. No, croaked Harry. Please, they'll kill me. Harry Potter must say he's not going back to school. Dobby, please, say it, sir. I can't. Dobby gave him a tragic look. Then Dobby must do it, for Harry Potter's own good. The pudding fell to the floor with a heart-stopping crash. Cream splattered the windows and walls, and the dish shattered. With a crack like a whip, Dobby vanished. There were screams from the dining room, and Uncle Vernon burst into the kitchen to find Harry, rigid with shock, covered from head to toe in Aunt Petunia's pudding. At first, it looked as though Uncle Vernon would manage to gloss the whole thing over. Just our nephew, very disturbed, meeting strangers upsets him, so we kept him upstairs. He shooed the shocked Masons back into the dining room, promised Harry he would flay him within an inch of his life when the Masons had left, and handed him a mop. Aunt Petunia dug some sort of ice cream out of the freezer, and Harry, still shaking, started scrubbing the kitchen clean. Uncle Vernon might still have been able to make his deal, if it hadn't been for the owl. And that is where we're going to have to stop for today. Just because you're at home doesn't mean you don't get cliffhangers. Alrighty. I'm so curious. So there's so many things, at least I'm interested in talking about. One of the things I'm interested in talking about is it looks like Dobby's exhibiting a little bit of, there's some behaviors that I'm not super, I don't know, they're a little iffy. His ears in the oven, that's terrible. One should never hurt themselves or commit any harm to themselves or other people. So I hope we can understand that this is a fictional creature, a fictional elf. I wanted to make that part super clear, but also I'm just so intrigued who sent him and who they're talking about. So if you haven't read, I want you to guess who they're referring to about Dobby, like who sent him and what family does he work for? And there's just so many questions swirling around my head. So maybe you can write your own questions that you're wondering about in the comments below. And even if you're curious about it, you can use this time to journal about it. You can use it as a writing response. You could try to infer about how Harry might be feeling at this point in the story, how Dobby might be feeling at this point in the story. There's sure to be a lot of mixed emotions, especially with Harry right now. So feel free to either comment those ideas or chat with a friend about them if you are in contact with some of our classmates via FaceTime or Zoom or writing letters even. You could do that. I'm very, very curious to see what you come up with. All right, that's it for today. And I will see you all on Wednesday morning. Happy Tuesday. Bye.